Part 2 on business tips by Michael Janda. If you want, check out the YouTube channel. They have some pretty good videos. He talks a lot about pricing structures and how to get people to tell you the budgets that you have, and talk about your own market value and the client's budget. Because it really depends on their return on investment, what they always talk about, managers. Like, people don't invest into something that they have no return on investments. That ROI is always what they talk about. And ROIs don't have to be always just money. It can also be vanity, that they just want to have a cool image from the company. It doesn't have to be a direct return on investment. So, but if you have something where you can prove that you made the website get that much more traffic because of your product, or that many more people came to the party because of your flyer, or you sold that much more on these products because they were designed so well. If you have some kind of math to prove it, of course, that's great. You can justify your price for it better. And there are different ways to price your work. A lot of companies, when they first start out, of course, they love to have a fixed bid, because then it's easier for them to plan. Although, like a lot of times with a new client, you need to feel out how much time things will take. So you might want to start smaller projects at first, and even do an hourly rate for those before you give them a fixed rate for a large project. You can also, if you have a very long-lasting relationship, there are things like retainers, where they can tell you, we can bill you for this many hours a month guaranteed, and those will be at a cheaper rate because of that. So you can plan that in. You can even hire somebody to help you. Those are called retainers. I have some clients that are almost on a retainer. They get sort of a good deal, because I know that I get so much work from them. They get like a better rate than other, or I just throw in a few more extra things to them. So to set your own rate, it's kind of like called the burn rate. How much should you charge per hour? Because you have to consider all of the other outside things too that you need to pay for the office, your accountant, your health insurance, all of that people will pay for it. And if you're employed in a company, if you're freelancing, this would be part of your hourly rate. That's why it's higher, because you have to promote yourself, you have to go on socials, you have to do your own education, all these things that are usually budgeted in a company. That as a freelancer, you have to sort of input that into your hourly rate too, so that's why it's higher. So having these fixed bids are really dangerous right now in this economy, where it's more like the agile way, because you kind of evolve these projects. You start them up because you don't really know what this project is still going to be. If you don't know how big this product will grow, how can you already budget at this point? So you need to either chunk it down into smaller bits and fix those, or do it on an hourly rate, which I think is, for this economy right now, it might be the way to go in a lot of projects. So here are some warnings about line item pricing. When you tell somebody you can do this letterhead, there's option A. You can say, every line item, that's why it's called, is the logo will be $800, the business card $400, the letterhead $400, and the envelope $400. Total will be $2,000. The problem on this option A will be that they'll say, well, we really only have a budget of $400. Can you just do the letterhead? Well, you still need a logo for the letterhead, so the $400 doesn't include the logo design, so you can't really design the letterhead without having the logo. Option B is, you could say the logo design will be the biggest thing, because I really need this to do all the rest. It's very easy for me to do the business card and the letterhead and envelope once I have the logo. So those are the smaller prices. That would be another option. But then they'll say, maybe, yes, we just want the envelope design. But on option C, you can say there's only one budget, and that's $2,000 for everything, and I don't take any line items out of it. But they'll say, but we really don't need the business card, so can you make it a little cheaper? So then they have also this negotiating power, which is going to screw you in a little bit. But on option D, I think it's a good one, where you can just say that the project is started for me to set up everything, the initial meetings, that's the cost for that. The design part will be $1,000, and the production will be this much. Then there's some leverage where they can say, well, we'll like to keep the production a little bit lower. Can you give us a little bit leeway there? So these are different ways to price the same items. Very dangerous to have a line item pricing in the beginning. That's why you need to explain to them why you have a product management fee to start a project, and then you go on from there. What a budget is, most clients have a number in mind unless they're really new to this, but you need to find that out. You don't want, like, they probably don't want to tell you that right away, but they already know it. So then if you ask them about what they want to achieve, and then you can ask them at the end of the interview, what is your budget? And everybody has this number already, but they give you like a sort of a range of, yeah, we were thinking about this to this, and then don't like say, oh, this is very low or this is very high at this point. Keep on asking. You can ask, for example, in the past, have there been similar projects? What were the budgets on that one? That would be another question. Or you can say what past projects you did and what these clients paid for it, and you can ask them if they were comfortable paying this price. You can also compare it kind of like, are you going to, like, you only need a car to drive from point A to B. You can have a Ferrari or a Kia. It still gets you from A to B. But do you want the Ferrari or do you want the Kia? So you can say, I can make you the bare bone version of this. But if you want all these rings and belts and whistles, then you need to, this would be like the Ferrari. I can offer this as well. So you can send a rough estimate to say what the bare minimum that would satisfy their goals would be this price, but if they'd like to add some of the stuff that they really want, these extra features, then these would be added to it, and then you probably end up somewhere in the middle to agree with that price, and that goes is a good price for both of you then. When you do something for free, make sure that you tell them that this is still an item. Don't just do it for free and don't mention it, because they might think like, oh, this wasn't any work and that's why he didn't bill us. So in the future they will expect that they'll get this service for free again. So no, you should actually mention it, that you gave it to them for free because you just wanted to help them out there or something, or because it's been like such a great busy month or something. So don't do it really for free. Also, non-profit companies, they call themselves non-profit, but they still have salaries, they still have budgets. Don't take that they don't have any money. You might want to like help them out on some stuff, but you don't have to work for free either. There isn't any free work, because otherwise you can get all the work in the world if it's for free. Also, when you get hired or when you have contracts, it's sometimes can be difficult with the legals, because they're just pages and pages and you don't know what it means. You just sign anything. But you do sometimes have to look over that you don't have, like, there are some NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, that you cannot work with other competitors for a year or two. Never really happened to me as a freelancer, but if you have full-time jobs, that can be a problem, that if you leave this company, you won't be able to work for the competitor for a year, for example. In your proposals also, don't say, we do this and this and this, etc., because that's something very vague that they could come back to you and say, you said etc., and I thought we talked about this and this and this and this. That's, I thought, what we meant by that. And you want to make sure after you send your invoice, maybe have them approve that they received it, because otherwise they'll just say, oh, it got stuck in payables, and it might be months and months and months before you hear that it never got processed. So just make sure that you have a good reputation, that you're on good terms. Just make sure that you're on good terms with this secretary in accounting too. So also be on good terms with the accounting department, just to make sure that your check is actually processed.